Hey folks, Michaela here. Wanted to chat a little bit more about my upcoming move out of the US. I've had a lot of folks, mostly men, very concerned. I understandably so. However, a few things. First, the US is bombarded with fear-mongering media around what's going on in our border country down there. And yes, are there dangers? Absolutely. Uh, However, I don't feel a whole lot safer here, for starters. A few weeks ago, 10 people died in DFW from gun violence, unrelated events. So I don't feel comfortable going in crowds here. I don't feel comfortable knowing that everybody around me is carrying a gun, and most of them are angry and have no ability at emotional regulation, and just the vibration of fear. And I have folks on the ground in Mexico and other countries that they're living the life there. I get up to daily reports on traffic stops they run into and what their border crossing is like, etc. So are there things that have happened that are dangerous? Absolutely. Do I need to be cautious? Absolutely. This is where my trauma from childhood helps, right? I'm crazy hyper vigilant. So not to say that something can't happen to me or that I'm special or none of that. Of course, something could happen, but it also could happen here. And I'm going into this informed and prepared. So one of the things that is concerning are the border stop, or not the border stops. That, of course, just be legit and that's fine. It's the traffic stops along the different roads. And sometimes they don't always look legit, but from what I'm hearing, they are. It's just how they're doing it. In Mexico, it's different offices that are doing the border checks, the road checks. But there's also, I hear, cartel that'll stop you. And essentially, all of them are looking for guns, drugs, and money. And I will have very little money, just enough to pay the tolls. I'll also have a toll pass, but sometimes the toll pass won't work, so you need to have pesos on hand. So I'll have enough for that, but not anymore. And I'm not going to have guns, and I'm not going to have drugs. So, there's word that you need to watch it if they're going to count your money, that sometimes some money comes up missing. Now, that's happening, and people can lose things when the searches are done on the vehicle if you're not watching carefully. So learning what I need to say in certain situations, for instance, if they're asking for a bribe, that I have a printout or something to show them. I also have read it in English, that essentially I'm happy to go with you to your station and get a paper ticket and pay my fine. But if you're wanting me to pay right now, no. And being patient and playing it out. Like if they want to have you wait, not being in a hurry, that kind of thing. So, being friendly, and hopefully with 3 dogs in the back and 2 cats, there's not going to be a whole lot of time spent searching my vehicle, but who knows? So yeah, prepared in that way. Prepared also, the whole cartel thing. I was sent something about they found 48 bodies in a cash cartel, something. And I'm like, sure, but I'm not involved in cartel business. I'm not trying to sell drugs on their territory, which ends up being, I would imagine, what causes a lot of life loss. Now, are there innocent lives? Absolutely. Just like here. So I had someone rebut with, well, what about, I said something about the 10 people were shot in DFW, and they said, well, we won't get a count of how many were shot in Mexico. But if people were shot in Mexico City, it's not like they have state-run media there the way that we do here, or moving towards that, really. Um, but we would have heard something. But I did say, we do have data on the school shootings. There's been one in, I don't know, 50 years in Mexico, and we can't even go hardly a week without it happening here. So, we got to watch our information. We have to know to do our own research rather than just taking the propaganda fed to us. This is why we're in the state that we're in as a country. People don't know how to research. They don't know how to they don't understand that, for instance, Fox News, they had to pay what, 700 something, was it million, for being liars, and had to state, yes, we are an entertainment company. We are not a news company. But apparently people don't want to hear that. So, but if we're going to live our lives by, I think I just swallowed a gnat, a little protein. If we're going to live our lives by the information that we're getting, which is a reasonable thing to do, we need to know that it's legit information. You can't get just from one source. You need to be, anyway, so don't get me started on that. But I want to reassure the people who are concerned about me that I'm kind of a smart lady. So, I'm going to be looking out for things. I'm not going out at night, probably, maybe if there's a festival or something like that, but I'm going to be smart about it. Most places I go, I'm going to have 2 big dogs around my waist and a little one on my front. If not, both my cats on leashes too. We'll see what kind of interesting setup we can create. But I feel really good about this. I pay attention to signs. I pay attention to swimming, rowing our boat gently down the stream is what we're supposed to do. If you feel like you're swimming upstream, it's not your path. And I'm tuned in to, I don't want to sell all my stuff and have this be a shit show and not work out, right? So clearly I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to what's happening, and the road is wide open for me to go do this in so many ways that seem miraculous to me. So I got to go check it out. There's no other option here at this point. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I am not going to live in fear in that way. Am I going out of fear? Kind of. My sense of urgency is from that, but I probably would be doing this anyway. If I didn't have all the animals, I'd be going maybe to a safer country, but I have 5 animals, and I'm certainly not going to put any of them in a cargo belly of an aircraft. So we're headed to Latin America, and I'm super excited. And I do have a couple of close people to me that are thrilled, and they are like, yeah, this is, it seems like it's meant to be for you. And they're excited and are waiting to hear. And then I've got some friends that are right behind me. So yeah, we got to trust, right? If this is the path that I feel like is calling to me, then I'm going to trust that it's going to work out. Do I know every step ahead of me? Absolutely not, but that's kind of part of the fun. And as I've gotten older, I've been able to ride that with more curiosity than fear, and excitement than anxiety. And perhaps this is my next fear project, but again, I don't feel fearful about going. I feel informed, and I have apps that people leave up to minute information on. I'm also on a bunch of forums, and I've got a little bit of military experience in there. So 8 years of being a soldier, I hope, will serve me in this capacity as well. Now, is it going to save my life? I'm not going to battle. But as far as just my hypervigilance and what I'm paying attention to regarding my safety. So I do appreciate the concern, and I want to reassure that, I'm doing this with eyes wide open. And if this is, God forbid, how I go out, then I went out doing what I love, or get hurt or whatever. I mean, we can't live life afraid like that. And so it's definitely not my nature. I tend to, while my impulsivity has lessened a bit with age, I'm still brave with sometimes a little bit of stupidity thrown in there, but it tends to go pretty well. Have I had things go badly? Sure. But it's part of the curriculum. So I hope this puts some minds at ease around, I'm not just flying into this like, with that impulsivity. I am researching. I am doing this intentionally, and, I'll take y'all along with me. So I will see you on the next update. Bye.